Hi everyone, today I'm going to read the book Scaredy-cat, Splat. As we're reading this book, think about a time that you were scared by something. Here we go, Scaredy-cat, Splat. Splat is a recurring character. There's lots of books about Splat and his little friend whose name is Seymour. Mom, cried Splat, there's a scary spider on my jack-o'-lantern. He's small and furry with really funny eyes. Splat's voice wobbled with worry. But you're small and hairy with really funny eyes, said his mom. Splat thought for a minute. But I haven't got 8 legs, he replied. If you had, then you'd be a scary spider too, teased his mom. Splat made a scary spider face. Splat's mom caught the spider under a glass jar. Splat looked carefully at the spider. It didn't look so scary now that it was trapped. Can I take the spider to school for Halloween? Asked Splat. We've all made jack-o'-lanterns and everyone is dressing up in costumes. And Mrs. Wimpy Dimple is going to tell a ghost story. And there's a prize for the scariest cat. And I want to be the scariest cat. So please, can I take the spider to school? Please? He added without taking a breath. Okay, said his mom. Where's your Halloween costume? Asked his mom. Splat pulled a broom from the closet and sat astride it. Look at me. I am Scary Witch's cat, said Splat, racing around the kitchen. You certainly are scary, said his mom. Then disaster struck. Splat tripped over his tail, and with a crack, the broom handle snapped into 2. His Scary Witch's cat costume was ruined. Now I've got nothing to wear, Splat groaned. Even Seymour couldn't console him. Console him means make him feel better. Splat's mom had an idea. She stuffed some old socks with scrunched up newspaper and tied them to Splat with string. There, she said. Splat looked at the mirror and jumped back with a squeal. Ooh! I scared myself, he said. He looked again, and this time he smiled. Look at me, he cried, waving his sock legs. I'm a big, scary sock spider. Splat placed his jack-o'-lantern and spider on his wagon and set off for school. On the way, he met Spike, dressed as a mummy, and Plank, dressed as a skeleton. They're pretty scary, said Splat. Seymour nodded and trembled a little. But I'm scarier, said Splat. Grrr! He made his scariest spider face and growled. Spike and Plank didn't even blink. Instead, boo! Cried Spike. Boo! Cried Plank. Splat yelped and jumped high in the air, and he landed in a heap. Aw! Splat sighed. Spike and Plank are both scarier than me. Seymour nodded and trembled a little bit more. I'll never win the prize for scariest cat, said Splat. The sock spider, the skeleton, and the mummy continued on their way to school. In class, everyone shared their jack-o'-lanterns. Splat's jack-o'-lantern made everyone laugh. Aw, Splat sighed. I'll never win this prize for scariest cat. Seymour shook his head. Everyone placed flashlights in their jack-o'-lanterns, and Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned down the lights and whispered in her best ghost story voice. In a dark, dark wood, there is a dark, dark house. In a dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark room. In a dark, dark room, there was a dark, dark box. And in the dark, dark box, there's a ghost! Mrs. Wimpy Dimple cried. The class jumped in with fright. Splat was so startled that his tail whipped around, and sent his jack-o'-lantern spinning through the air. And when it came down, had to come up. So it went up and came down right on his head. Splat! Oh my goodness, I wonder what's going to happen now. Unable to see anything, Splat stumbled around the classroom. Everyone shrieked as the pumpkin head glared at them and made strange hooing noises. Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned on the lights and lifted up the wayward jack-o'-lantern. The shrieking turned to laughter as Splat fell out. Calm down, said Mrs. Wimpy Dimple. Now, class, who should win the prize for being the scariest cat? Splat! They all cheered. And that's the end. I want you to think about it. Who was in the story? So who are the characters? Tell your family who they were. Where did the story take place? It took place in 2 different places. And what happened in the story? What happened at the beginning, the middle, and the end? See if you can retell the story to your family to tell them about Scaredy-cat Splat. Have a great day and happy reading.